This is The Workplace. Today's challenges by Susanna Held for Management 1125 Business Ethics. Privacy. Privacy is widely acknowledged to be a fundamental right, yet corporate behavior and policies often threaten privacy, especially in the case of employees. Companies are delving further into employees' personal lives more than ever before. The importance of privacy. Our concern for privacy has three aspects. Number one, to control intimate or personal information about ourselves and not permit it to be freely available to everyone. Number two, to keep certain thoughts, feelings, and behavior free from scrutiny, monitoring, or observation of strangers. Number three, to value being able to make certain personal decisions autonomously. We seek to preserve and protect a sphere in which we can choose to think and act for ourselves, free from illegitimate influence of our employers or others. Legitimate and illegitimate influence. A firm has a legitimate interest in employee conduct off the job only if it affects work performance, though determining when off-the-job conduct bears on job performance can be difficult. Henry Ford made his auto workers' wages conditional on their good behavior outside the factory. Ford had inspectors whose only job was to keep tabs on his employees' hygiene and housekeeping habits. Involvement in civic activities. To enhance their image in the community, businesses and other organizations have long prodded employees to donate to charitable causes and encourage them to participate in civic activities off of the job. For example, the civic groups that you would join would be the Rotary Club, the Kiwanis Club, and the Lions Club. Wellness programs. Sometimes organizations pressure employees in certain directions for their own good. Wellness programs, which are programs that push employees toward healthier lifestyles, are now a common feature of the corporate landscape. Some companies are now intruding further into the personal sphere by bringing employees' families into these wellness programs. Testing and monitoring. Firms frequently seek, store, and communicate information about employees, often highly personal information. Before moving on to the test and monitoring, we will talk about informed consent. The concept of informed consent or choice implies deliberation and free choice. Workers must understand what they are agreeing to, including its full ramifications, and must voluntarily choose it. Everyone agrees that for consent to be legitimate, it must be voluntary. Some of the tests are polygraph test, personality test, drug testing, and monitoring of employees. Polygraph tests. Polygraphs are a fast and economical way to verify information provided by a job applicant and to screen candidates for employment. Polygraphs allow employers to identify dishonest employees or job applicants at a time where companies are experiencing annual losses due to in-house thefts. The use of polygraphs rests on three doubtful assumptions, and those are: Number 1, lying can trigger an involuntary response that telling the truth does not. 2, it is assumed that they are extremely accurate. And number 3, it is believed they cannot be beaten. Personality test. Personality tests help businesses screen candidates and match individuals to appropriate jobs, but their use rests on some questionable psychological premises, and they can invade privacy and reinforce conformity. The assumption that individuals can be categorized based on a small number of personality traits is questionable. Drug tests. Drug testing raises questions of test reliability and job relevance. Companies must also consider whether drug testing is really necessary, and if so, design such programs to respect the rights and dignity of employees as much as possible. They must also determine how to respond appropriately to individuals who fail the test. Monitoring of employees. Monitoring employees may be necessary, but it can be abused and it can violate privacy. Notifying employees of workplace monitoring does not constitute consent. Organizations frequently confuse notification of such practices with employee consent, but notification alone does not constitute agreement. Working conditions. The conditions under which people work include personal policies and procedures, as well as the extent to which an organization is committed to respect and the rights and privacy of its employees. We will now examine the three other aspects of working conditions, which are health and safety, styles of management, and the organization's maternity and daycare arrangements. Health and safety. As defined by the World Health Organization, or WHO, occupational health deals with all aspects of health and safety in the workplace and has a strong focus on primary prevention of hazards, regulations and procedures intended to prevent accident or injury in workplaces or public environments. Employers have a moral obligation not to expose workers to needless risk, and employees have a right to know about and refuse hazardous work. Although industrial accidents sometimes seem to result from employee recklessness or to just happen, experts believe that they are caused by factors that are under the control of the company. OSHA. Occupational Safety and Health Administration is a federal organization that is part of the Department of Labor that ensures safety and healthy working conditions for Americans by enforcing standards and providing workplace safety training. New health challenges. The scope of occupational hazards, including musculoskeletal disorders, shift work, fatigue, and stress, and the number of employees harmed by working-related injuries and illnesses are greater than many people think. OSHA's enforcement of existing regulations has too often been lax. Management styles. Management style greatly affects the work environment. Managers who operate with rigid assumptions about human nature or who devote themselves to infighting and political maneuvering often damage employees' interests. Maternity leave. Maternity leave is a temporary period of absence from employment granted to expectant or new mothers during the months immediately before and after childbirth. These policies are generally aimed at supporting the mother's full recovery from childbirth and facilitating a stronger mother-child bond. Only in 2 states is it required to pay a mother on maternity leave. Daycare. With more and more women entering the workforce, the need for daycare is rising. Assistance with childcare and flexible-oriented policies can be cost-effective for businesses. Despite the genuine need for and the ethical importance of both daycare and flexible work arrangements for parents, only a handful of companies strive seriously to provide them. Job satisfaction. Job satisfaction or employee satisfaction has been defined in many different ways. Some believe it is simply how content an individual is with his or her job. In other words, whether or not they like the job or individual aspects or facets of jobs, such as the nature of work or supervision. This concludes my presentation on the workplace, today's challenges. This is my works cited page. Thank you.